today we're going over part 2 of Beren and Luthien. If you're new here, welcome to our Halfling, where we talk about Lord of the Rings and sometimes about D&D. So let's get started. So last we left off, Beren and Luthien had now sort of rid the Tower of Sauron. It's been cleaned, everyone's been freed, and they bury Finrod Felagund. And so now Beren and Luthien are wandering in the woods, just full of bliss and love for one another, and have no acknowledgement of anything that's going on around them. It says that winter comes and they're just oblivious to it, that spring just kind of lingers with Luthien. And it says that Hound does go back to Celegorm, but there's less love there, and that all that had been freed from the Tower of Sauron go to Nargothrond, and here they tell of the great feat that happened with Finrod Felagund and with Sauron, and this big battle. They rave about this beautiful maiden that was brave enough to do the thing that no son of Feanor was, brave enough to do. And because of these tales, the people of Nargothrond are now like, maybe we shouldn't be loyal to Celegorm and Curufin, and so they do return their loyalty to the House of Finarfin, because they now realize that Celegorm and Curufin were not giving them this vision or these grand speeches for their benefits, but more for Celegorm and Curufin's own benefit. And so the people of Nargothrond bring their loyalty back to the House of Finarfin and to Ordredreth, and they want blood. They want to kill Celegorm and Curufin. And Ordredreth says no, that just adds to the kinslaying, adds to the doom of Mondos. Don't let them be. But he does tell them, you're not allowed to rest here or eat here, and you need to leave. And Celegorm is just like, fine, whatever. And he does this in like a very menacing way. And Curufin just says that he gives this evil smile, and they leave. And it says no one goes with them, that everyone that had come with them to Nargothrond all stay. They realize now that following any of the sons of Feanor is, you're just bound to have evil to follow you. And so they don't go with them. But Hound does, remain loyal to Celegorm, and he does go with them. And so it says that Celegorm and Curufin want to quickly travel through Dimbar, north of Doriath, and they're trying to get to Himring and to their brother Madros as quickly as possible. Well, in this journey, they're at the edge of Doriath, and they see Beren and Luthien. And Celegorm now decides he's going to take his horse and run straight for Beren, and he's going to trample him. And as he's running towards Beren, Curufin runs towards Luthien, and he sweeps up Luthien and puts her on his horse. And it says that Beren does a feat that man and elf will remember as always as the leap of Beren. And in one swift movement, Beren dodges Celegorm's horse and leaps onto Curufin's horse instead, grabs Curufin by the throat, and pulls both of them off of the horse, causing them to land in the grass. And in the same movement, Luthien is also thrown off the horse, and she lands in the grass. Now Hound, seeing what has just transpired, he starts going after Celegorm's horse to scare him off so that Celegorm can't get towards Beren. And this upsets Celegorm. He's mad at his horse for not listening, mad at his dog for betraying him. Hound doesn't care. He's protecting Beren. Well, Beren in this moment is on top of Curufin, ready to kill him. Luthien now stands up, goes to Beren, says, stop, don't kill him, leave him be. So Beren listens, he stops, but he takes all of Curufin's gear and weapons, including Curufin's knife Engris, which was made by Telkar of Nograd. And Beren grabs Curufin, stands him up, and tells him he needs to leave, he needs to get out of here, go back to his kinsfolk who may be able to teach him better manners, but that he needs to leave his horse for Luthien. And that the horse will probably be happier with Luthien than with him, who must have been a terrible master. Well, Curufin obviously curses Beren, gets really mad, says he should just go off and die. Celegorm, takes his brother by his side, and they begin to ride off, Beren totally ignoring Curufin. Well, Curufin, again, upset with this whole thing that's just happened, takes Celegorm's bow and shoots an arrow towards Beren. Well, Hound jumps up and grabs it in his mouth. And this just makes Celegorm or Curufin even angrier. And he shoots off another another arrow, which goes towards Luthien. And Beren jumps in front of that one, being struck right in the chest. And Hound now runs after the two sons of Feanor, rides them off, and they're afraid of their lives because now Hound's going after them. But they leave. And when Hound returns to Luthien, he brings back an herb that she can use to heal Beren's wound with the herb and her own magic. And it says with her love, Beren is healed. And now they return to Doriath. And Beren is now thinking of Luthien's safety. They're in Doriath. They're, within her home. And so he decides that he's gonna, while she's sleeping, he's gonna leave her and let her be. Well, Beren tells Hound, to protect Luthien. And he takes Curufin's horse and now rides off towards the pass of Sirion at the border of Taur und Fuin. And here Beren can see the peaks of Thengorodrim. And he lets the horse go. He believes that the horse now can kind of go off and ride freely or run freely in the, the green grass of Sirion. And he feels that there's just no hope, that everything is just lost to him now. He's going to try and fulfill this quest. Luthien before had told him that he had two choices. He could either, abandon the quest and just try to wander in exile, or he can try and go through with the quest and go to the Throne of Darkness. But either way, she's going to be with him. Well, now he's left her and he's just feeling totally hopeless. He thinks he's not going to be able to see her again, but he feels that he needs to at least try to fulfill this oath. And so he sings out a song of parting. And he sings it so loudly, he doesn't care who can hear it or not. It's just a song of sorrow and love for Luthien. Well, Luthien does hear the song, and she attempts to sing in response. And Hound now, again, sets aside his pride, allows Luthien to ride upon him as they run after Beren. And so, while they're running, Hound is trying to decide, what advice, what counsel can he give Beren and Luthien in this moment. And Hound takes Luthien through Sauron's Isle, where the bodies of Dragulin, the Wolfheim, who he fought, and Thuringwethel, the bat-fell messenger of Sauron, who would often take on a vampiric form. And it says with her fingered wings, were barbed at each joint, ending with an iron claw. So this very terrifying figure. Well, they see the bodies there, and so Hound and Luthien decide to disguise themselves as Dragluin and Thuringwethel in hopes to be able to pass through Taur und Fuin with ease and, no problems. And they do. They're able to take on the disguise, run, and everybody just runs away from them scared. And Beren sees the two coming after him, and it says that he's a little concerned, he's worried, because he has heard Luthien's voice. He heard her singing, but he's worried that this was just a form of entrapment, that it's just a hoax, basically. And so when Luthien and Hound do get to Beren, they discard their disguises, and Luthien and Beren now embrace, and for just a moment, they're happy to see each other. But then the reality of the imminent danger that they're in sort of comes back to Beren, and he realizes that, Luthien's safety is in danger. And Beren states that, it's 3 times now he's regretted making this oath with Thingol, that it's not right for him to basically put Luthien in this position, so that now this beautiful creature is in the shadows of Morgoth. Hound now speaks up for the 2nd time and tells Beren that he can't protect Luthien from death, that their fates are now bound together, and that he can either choose to lead her into exile, where they will fail in their attempt to find peace in life, or Beren can accept his fate, accept the situation, and choose to leave Luthien behind, where she'll die of a broken heart. Or he can take her with him and challenge fate together, which may be hopeless and uncertain, but at least they'll be together. And Hound says that he doesn't know what will happen and that he can't really see any farther past the gate. Like, he can't see what's going to happen in the future. And that now he has to leave them, that their road together ends here. He's not going to go any further with them, but that maybe they will see each other again in Doriath. And so Beren, now realizing that Luthien is not going to leave him, decides that they're going to go together. They're going to complete this mission together, or this quest. And with the help of Hound, Luthien disguises Beren as the wolf Heim Dragluen. And she now takes on her disguise of Thorin Gwethel, and the two continue northward towards Morgoth. And it says that then, howling under the moon, he leaped down the hill, and the bat wheeled and flittered above him. So now they've taken on their form, they've taken on these disguises, and they're going off towards Morgoth to complete this quest. And finally, the two reach the gates of Angband. But to their surprise, there is a huge guard there. It is Carcharath, a wolf Heim of the race of Dragluen that was fed by the hands of Morgoth and made into this great wolf. So basically, Morgoth heard of Hound attacking, heard of what had happened at the Tower of Sauron, and he's like, I can't fight Hound. And so basically, he creates his own great dog to fight Hound, or at least attempt to fight Hound. And so that's what they see. They see this huge dog who was placed to guard the gate and never sleep. And he's specifically placed there to fight off Hound. And Carcharath, he sees the two from a distance, and he has doubts on whether it's really them or not, because rumors have already gotten back to everybody about the death of Dragluen, which is like, yeah, it kind of seems like that's why he's here. And so he's like, something fishy is going on. And when the two finally do reach the gate, Carcharath is like, you guys aren't allowed in. And so Luthien discards her disguise, and it says that she is this bright, small light in the shadow of this great beast. And she uses her powers that are divine and old, and she tells the beast to sleep. And in an instant, this huge beast it says he just falls asleep as if he was struck by lightning. And now this, great dog of Carcharath, the Red Maw, is now sleeping like a puppy. So Beren and Luthien, still in disguise, walk through the labyrinth of stairs, and they find the throne of Morgoth, where it says that Beren hides under the throne, but Luthien is unable to, because Morgoth instantly removes her disguise, and her true form is revealed. And Luthien, it says she stands brave and gives her name just openly, and states that she is here because she wishes to sing to Morgoth. And Morgoth, seeing her beauty, it says that he has this great evil lust, these like evil thoughts that he hasn't had since fleeing Valinor. And so now Morgoth is not only captivated by Luthien's beauty, but he's also just like really proud of his evil thoughts, which is just really gross and creepy. Like, what are you thinking, man? And Luthien now for a time is kind of left free to wander and do what she wants, and kind of watches and all that. And he's just watching her and thinking about his gross, evil thoughts. And it says that eventually, though, she does elude his sight and for a moment, and that she begins to sing a song so lovely and beguiling that Morgoth is just completely lost in her voice. And it says that blindness came upon him as his eyes roamed to and fro seeking her. So like he's looking for it, and she is just so beguiling and so enchanting with her beauty and with her song. And it says that everyone in his court fall asleep, and that the fires and all dwindle, but that the Silmarils and Morgoth's crown begin to glow a radiant white flame light, and that the weight of the crown begins to cause Morgoth's head to lower and lower and lower. He just can't hold it up anymore, and that it feels like the weight of the world, the world's cares and fears are all kind of resting on his head, and he just can't will it to, hold his head up high. And so now Luthien, now that Morgoth's head's down low, Luthien kind of casts her cloak across his eyes, and Morgoth falls asleep. And it says that he rolls off his throne with the clashing of thunder, and that his crown rolls off. And Beren is asleep. He also fell asleep in this. And Luthien's just kind of like standing still because this was a lot of noise. Everybody's asleep. The room is now completely still. And so Luthien goes off to Beren. She kind of touches him, wakes him up, and Beren now removes his disguise, pulls out the knife of Angrus, and goes to the Iron Crown. And he removes one of the Silmarils and holds it in his hand with no ailment and no pain. And instead, clutching the Silmaril in his hand basically causes it to glow, causes his hand to become this, it says like a lamp, and it's just so radiant. And so Beren is like, well, why don't I just go ahead and take all of the Silmarils? And so he attempts to take another one, but because of the curse of the Silmaril, he is unable to, and Angrus actually shatters. And one of the shards of the knife grazes Morgoth's cheek, causing him to groan in his sleep. And this causes everybody in the room to kind of shift in their sleep. And Beren and Luthien are like, no, we're not going to push our luck. We're good. Let's get out of here. And so they run off. However, Karkaroth has now woken up from his sleep, and he sees the two in their true form running towards him. And so he starts running towards them. And in doing this, Luthien has nothing left in the tank. She's used it all. She's got nothing left. And so Beren jumps in front of her with Karkaroth coming after him, and he holds up the Silmaril, and, he tells this beast to back off, basically, to leave him alone, that what he holds in his hand will just burn him up. It will destroy him. And Karkaroth, it says that he's not afraid, and instead he bites Beren's hand off and swallows the hand that's clutching the Silmaril. And as soon as he does this, the Silmaril is burning the inside of Karkaroth, and he goes mad. He goes crazy. He's in so much pain, and he's just freaking out now. And now we have Karkaroth's madness, where he's just running without a care in the world because he's in so much pain. And all of this is being fueled by the Silmaril that's buried within him. And so Beren is now on death's door, because not only is he bleeding profusely, but Karkaroth's fangs are venomous. And so now he has venom running through him. So Luthien tries, to suck out the venom. But the servants of Morgoth are now waking up because of all of this commotion. And Morgoth is mad. And so everyone is going after Beren and Luthien, and Beren and Luthien are just stuck. He can't do anything. He can't move. He's on death's door. And so here we have the three eagles of Thorondor swoop down, and they grab Beren and Luthien because the boy hound had told them to keep watch. And so they grab Beren and Luthien, and it says that they fly up high, and that Luthien can see these strikes and attacks being thrown towards the eagles, but the eagles don't care. They just fly up higher and higher, and now we have fire and smoke spewing out of the peaks of Thangorodrim, and it's just a madness. It says that everyone in Hithlum are kind of freaking out now. But the eagles are able to get Beren and Luthien out of there. They take him high up in the clouds. Beren is he has no idea what's going on. He's passing out. It says that Luthien, for a brief moment, the clouds over Gondolin are open, and she can see, the green jewel of Gondolin, but that she does not care because she's mourning and grieving and crying profusely because Beren is dying now. The eagles now drop Beren and Luthien at the borders of Doriath, in the same spot that Beren actually left Luthien when he was going to go on the quest alone. And it says that they leave them there, and that the eagles return to Cristegrim, and that now Hound returns to Luthien, and together that they tried to heal Beren. And it says that Beren laid in anguish for a long time, it seems like, and that his spirit was just lost in darkness, and he was on the edge of death. But that finally Beren wakes up and he sees Luthien, he hears the birds singing, and spring has now returned. And it says on here on after, Beren was named Erchamion, the one-handed. And it says that the two stay in this fair spot for a while, but that eventually Beren is like, I have to finish this. I have to return to Menegroth and talk to Thingol. And Beren also knows that, like, Luthien doesn't deserve to be out in the woods just wandering, that she is just beautiful, fair, royal creature, and that she doesn't deserve to live in exile. And so eventually Beren does persuade Luthien to return to Menegroth and return to her father. And during all of this, Doriath is cast into darkness. Luthien has left. They're in darkness, and it's silent. She's not singing anymore. And among all those that are grieving the loss of Luthien, Daron, the minstrel of Thingol, also no longer sings, no longer plays his music. And instead, he's now wandering and looking for Luthien as well. And it says that eventually he finds himself like over the mountains east of Middle-earth, and that he just never plays again, and that he was someone who was the greatest of minstrels, even over Maglor, son of Feanor. But now he's just gone in mourning the loss of Luthien. And Thingol now is looking to Melion for counsel, who's remained silent this whole time, saying that basically he set things into motion that need to just kind of play themselves out, and she's not giving him any more counsel to that. Thingol has also received a message from Celegorm and Curufin saying that Felagorn and Beren are dead, and that Luthien is with them in Nargothrond, and that Celegorm's going to marry her. Well, this obviously makes Thingol very angry, and he is now planning to go to war with Nargothrond, but soon learns that Luthien is not there, nor Celegorm and Curufin in Nargothrond. And so Thingol's councils are now really concerned, because they're like, well, we can't take on all 7 sons of Feanor. So they're a little concerned about what's going to happen next. Thingol, however, has sent word to Himring to ask for aid in finding Luthien, because he doesn't know where she's at. And Celegorm never sent her back to her home and to her father. And so he's upset that they didn't keep her safe. He doesn't know where she's at. He's just full of concern. He's just a concerned father. But the messengers going towards Himring to ask for aid never get there, because of Carcharoth's madness, and they are completely destroyed. And that Carcharoth had gone through Tyr Nufuin, trying to get to the sources of Esgalduin, and that he destroyed basically everything in his path, and that even Melion's girdle couldn't protect Doriath, because fate was essentially driving Carcharoth. And Carcharoth is running right through the woods of Doriath, and so that the only surviving person is Mablung, the chief captain of King Thingol, and he escapes just in time to go and warn Thingol of what's happening. And in that same hour, though, Beren and Luthien are now seen returning into Doriath, and basically everybody's so excited about this. The news goes ahead of them. By the time they get to the gates of Menegroth, there's a huge following of people behind them, all just excited to see them back in Doriath. So Thingol, seeing Beren, is just in wonder at the sight, but he still has very little love for the man that basically has brought all this trouble to his kingdom. Beren, however, bows and states that he's returned to receive what is owed to him. And Thingol asks him, like, well, have you fulfilled your oath? And Beren says, yep, it's done. My hand holds the Silmaril. And Thingol goes, okay, well, can I see the hand? And so Beren holds up his left hand, and it's empty. And he goes to hold up the right, which isn't there. And from then on, he names himself Camlost Empty-Handed. So now Thingol kind of relaxes and allows Beren to sit to the left of him and Luthien to sit to the right, and they tell him of the whole story, everything that's happened. And Thingol is just in wonder at the whole tale and realizes that Beren is not any ordinary man. And hearing everything and seeing how much he loves his daughter, Thingol finally gives his blessing to Beren and Luthien to wed, and the two, join hands in front of the king. And hearing all that has happened, the people of Menegroth are terrified now of Karkaroth and of, the danger that is leading their way. And Beren realizes that really his quest isn't entirely complete. And now they're preparing for the hunting of the wolf, who is slowly getting closer to Menegroth daily. And so on this hunt, we have Hound, the Hound of Valinor, Mablung of the Heavy Hand, Beleg, Strongbow, Beren Erkamion, and Thingol, King of Doriath, and they all ride to the river Escalduin. Luthien, however, stays in Menegroth, and it says that she feels that the sun has grown dark and sickly. So the party follows the river of Escalduin, and they find Karkaroth at the foot of the falls of Escalduin, where he is drinking the river, seemingly to ease his pain. This seems to be the only thing that's kind of calming down the burning. And the way that they find him, though, is from Karkaroth howling, that he's just howling in so much pain. And at first, Karkaroth is entirely unaware of them due to being focused on his own pain and also due to the sound of the falls. But he does eventually see the party coming, and rather than rushing out to attack the group, he actually hides in the bushes, in the bramble. He hides away. And everyone now just kind of sets up guard, and everybody just sits and waiting at the right moment to attack the beast. And it says that Beren and Thingol are standing side by side when suddenly they realize that Hound is no longer next to them. And Hound basically has become so impatient and waiting for this beast to come out that he goes up to the beast and gets him to come out. And so, and seeing, though, that Hound is no longer next to Beren and Thingol, Karkaroth jumps out and goes to attack Thingol, but Beren holds out a spear and attempts to strike Karkaroth, but instead Karkaroth swipes the spear aside. Hound now jumps on top of the back of Karkaroth, and the two begin fighting. And it says that the howling of Hound sounds like the horns of Orome, and the wrath of the Valar, and that the howls of Karkaroth hold the malice of Morgoth and the slashing of steel, and that the sounds of this fight are so loud that it drowns out the sounds of the waterfall. Thingol, however, is completely unable to pay any attention to the fighting because he sees that Beren is mortally wounded. And the fight finally ends with Hound as the great victor, but at a price of his own life. And with his final moments, Hound falls by the side of Beren, and for the third and final time speaks to Beren and gives his farewell. Beren says nothing but holds his hand on the head of this great Hound, and here the two are parted. It says that Mablung and Beleg run to Thingol to aid him, but now see Hound and Beren, and they drop their weapons and all just weep and grieve over this loss. Mablung goes up to Karkaroth and with his knife cuts open the belly of the beast, and inside the beast is completely burned and destroyed except for Beren's hand, which still holds the Silmaril completely undamaged. And when Mablung goes to touch the hand to grab the Silmaril, Beren's hand completely just disintegrates into ashes, and for a moment the Silmaril now glows so bright, uncovered, that it fills the whole shadowy forest with its radiant light. And in fear of what might happen, Mablung quickly grabs the Silmaril and places it into Beren's left hand. And now Beren stands up, holding the Silmaril, goes and gives it to Thingol and says, "Now is the quest achieved and my doom full wrought." And Beren, who's still mortally wounded, is carried into Menegrath on a stretcher made of branches, with Hound laying by his side. And at the base of Hirelorn, Luthien meets them, and she throws her arms around Beren, kissing him and telling him to wait for her beyond the Western Sea. And it says that Beren looks into her eyes, and in that moment, his spirit leaves him. And here ends the quest of the Silmarillion. But not the end of the Lay of Luthien, the release from bondage. Beren's spirit stays in the halls of Mandos, unwilling to leave until he can see Luthien again. Luthien, however, falls into this death-like state, into this state of depression, and it says that she's like a flower suddenly cut, lying on the ground unwithered. It says that Thingol feels winter upon him. It kind of feels that Luthien is dying, that he's losing his daughter. And Luthien's spirit now goes to the halls of Mandos. And it says that she's more beautiful than anything there, but she's also more sorrowful than anybody else in the halls of Mandos. And here she kneels at the feet of Mandos and begins to sing. And that her song was the most beautiful and most sorrowful song that was ever heard, so that people in Valinor still sing that song and grieve. And that this song, what makes it so beautiful is that it combined the two kindreds. It combined the grief of elves and the sorrow of men. And Luthien, in singing the song, her tears fall in the feet of Mandos, and that he was moved to pity, something that had never happened before and has never happened since. And Mandos, calls Beren to him, and Beren and Luthien are now reunited for a moment, but Mandos tells them that he's unable to change the fate of men, that he can't extend his life. And so Mandos goes to Manwë, who seeks counsel with the will of Iluvatar. And he realizes that there are two choices that Luthien has. One, she can be released from the halls of Mandos and live in Valinor, free of all of her griefs, but Beren wouldn't be allowed to live with her, and that he would still have to die, which is the gift of Iluvatar. Or she could return to Middle-earth with Beren, with no guarantee of life or joy, and she would have to become mortal, and both would have to die a second death, and she would leave forever. Well, Luthien chooses the latter, and she rejects the blessed realm, rejects her kinsfolk, and chooses to live a mortal life with the one she loves. So she alone of the elderly died long ago. Yet their choice forever brought together the two children of Iluvatar. So there you have it, the second and final part of Beren and Luthien. And I loved this chapter so stinking much. I will be doing a drawing of Beren and Luthien. I'm not entirely sure if I just want to draw the characters, if I want to draw a particular scene. If there's something you want to see, please leave the comments. I'd love to see it, and maybe I can do one of the drawings. But I have so many thoughts on this. There's so many things I want to talk about, and it would just take me too long. So I want to use that video to really just gush and rave over this beautiful chapter. I love it so much. It just gets the romantic in me. Oh, I love it. And that good boy Hound. So yes, I enjoyed this, obviously. I hope you guys did too. And I hope you guys come back on Tuesday so we can talk more about this wonderful chapter. But I also hope you guys have a blessed, wonderful week, and may your homes be filled with food and cheer. Bye.